These mistakes will block your manifesting. And stay tuned for number 6, because number 6 is the greatest obstacle to manifestation, but paradoxically, when we fix it, it can become our greatest power and greatest strength in creating the reality that you want to live. Now let's get into it. Welcome, my friend. Let's jump right into it. Mistake number 1, you're manifesting too big, too fast. Now, this is something that happens especially at the very beginning of the journey. And I know I found myself in this boat too, where as I started learning about manifesting, as I started practicing, the first thing I wanted to manifest was $10 million. So I was focusing on that and visualizing and praying and doing all these techniques, and nothing was happening, nothing was coming in. And I liken this to if you had just learned basketball, right? You just learned how to play basketball, and you played for a couple weeks, and you've watched a lot of videos, read a lot of books, and then, you went off and challenged Michael Jordan to a one-on-one. Like, that's just not gonna work. And with manifesting, it's the same way. It's a skill and it's an ability like anything else. And we don't wanna start out at the major leagues when we're just learning and working with these things. So the advice for mistake number 1 is to dial it back a little bit, right? Instead of manifesting $10 million, manifesting a soulmate in love, let's pull that back. Let's manifest $10. Maybe let's manifest a nice friendship. Maybe let's manifest, a pet that we can have a loving relationship with. Let's work with the same energy, the same frequency and vibration, but let's do it on a smaller scale, and then let's slowly build our way up. It's the same way we do everything else in life, and why should manifesting be any different? So we gotta start with these smaller steps and kind of work our way up. Now, mistake number 2, we are too attached and too needy sometimes to our manifestation. Okay, we're too attached to needing it to come in, right? Like, I need this money because I have bills to pay, I've got health issues, I got whatever, I just need this money, or I'm sitting here just needing my ex or needing my SP or needing love in general to come into my life. And when we're in that kind of attached and needing space, that's actually a repulsing energy. It's a repulsing vibration, because if you need something, right, then you lack it. Because if you had it already, you wouldn't be busy needing it. And that's how the universe reads it, right? The universe reads who we are. So if we're busy being someone that needs love, we're always going to be someone that needs love but never gets it. Whereas if we're someone who is sitting in a vibration of love and is sitting in a vibration of abundance, for example, then it's natural for us to have money and love, and that's what's gonna come and flow into our lives. So we wanna dial back that neediness and that attachment. And if it's a manifestation where you've been really needy and attached to it having to come out or it playing out in a certain way, one of the things that's most powerful for me in my life is just dropping it all together for like a month or a week or something and focusing on something completely different, other direction. And then when you come back to it, a lot of times you'll find that it flows in a lot easier when we just go ahead and look at something else and then come back to it. Now, mistake number 3 is not taking action. This is another one I see common, especially for people when you're just starting out on the manifesting journey and the journey of shaping the reality around you, is we can kind of fall into this trap of thinking that all we have to do is visualize, feel, think, do these techniques on the couch, in our house, wherever, and that there's nothing else that we need to do. And that's just not the case. We live in a 3D reality, right? This is a very solid, hard 3D space. It's very dense vibrationally. And in this 3D realm, action is the currency. Action is currency in 3D space. Just like vibration, visualization, and thought is the currency in these higher dimensional realms where we're pulling these things down from, we have to also take action. We can't just simply visualize or meditate or think. Action is necessary. And part of the manifesting journey is realizing that the end goal of manifesting whatever you want is typically going to be an inspired action for you to take, or it's going to be an idea. If for me, for example, if I want $10 million, well, then there's going to be an inspired idea that's going to come in that's going to lead me to maybe create a business that leads to that $10 million. Rarely is it that when you sit and manifest and visualize that, your perfect love just falls through the ceiling into your lap on the couch, or someone comes and knocks on the front door with the publisher's clearinghouse check for $10 million. Normally, it's going to be a hunch, an inspired action, or something for you to follow a path that will lead you step by step to what you want. Not necessarily all of it coming at once on the couch because you thought about it one day. And even if you've been on this journey for a while, like I've been on this journey for 10 years, and there are plenty of times where I forget to take action, and I'm so busy thinking about something that I never actually make a concrete step towards it in reality. Manifesting mistake number 4, too specific. Now, this is one times where I see a lot of conflicting advice. You see a lot of teachers, a lot of books, a lot of YouTube videos and channels will tell you to be specific as possible. Really get down to what you want. Well, a lot of times I find that can actually block a manifestation if you're too specific. And here's why. If I'm fixated on $10 million, for example, it may be that I'm not ready for that vibrationally yet. My life's not ready for that yet. And maybe the universe has a bunch of good stuff in the pipeline at the $1,000 level, the $5,000, $10,000 level. But if I'm so fixated on, because we have free will in this reality, if I'm so fixated on that 10 million, well, it may be blocking the universe's ability to bring me the 10,000, right? And 10,000 sounds pretty good to me right now. So if you get so fixated on a specific number, for example, that may block a lot of stuff that's already lined up to come with you. So drop the specificity, right? Dial that back a little bit. Now, how do we do that? Well, with money, we can simply focus on abundance. Just the feeling of abundance. What does it feel like to be abundant? What would it feel like if all your bills were taken care of? What would it feel like if you had an abundance of free time or an abundance of love? Dialing into the root frequency of abundance will then unlock that pipeline and let abundance come through. And it may not look like the way you wanted it to be, but it may also be much better than you thought. Same with love. If we're so specific, if you've got a checklist of 27 traits that your ideal person has to have, they have to have red hair, he's got to be 8 feet tall, she's got to make $7 million a year. There could be a very great, wonderful soulmate just waiting to come into your life. But if you have this specific checklist and they don't match every single one of them, then you're blocking it by being too specific with your expectations and too attached to what needs to come in. So if we can kind of dial that back and loosen up a little bit, we can kind of let the universe bring us things that are aligned with what we want. So align to that core frequency of love and soulmate and being loved versus having a checklist of 57 traits of what your perfect partner has to look like. And if you're enjoying this video, please smash the like button and subscribe to this channel if you'd like to create a better life for yourself. If you want to level up and live your best life, that's the tagline of the channel. And if you know anyone that's struggling with their manifestations, please share the video with them. And comment down below if there's any other mistakes in manifesting that you've noticed, whether through yourself or others. I want us to all share our wisdom with each other in this community so that we can all manifest better, so that we can all create the reality that we deserve to live in. Manifesting mistake number 5 has to deal with how often we're choosing to manifest using these techniques. And this is a spectrum from too often or not enough. Okay, if manifestations aren't coming and you're doing your visualization like 6 times a day, as soon as you wake up, before you go to bed, at lunch, all the time you're thinking, visualizing, you're asking way too much. And asking and receiving are 2 different vibrations. So if we're busy doing all the asking and all the visualizing, you're never giving the universe a chance to respond. It's kind of like if you're on a phone call with someone. If you're just talking, they never have a chance to respond because you are taking up all of the bandwidth. So if you're someone where you're doing it a lot of the time and things aren't coming in, try to dial that back, right? Maybe do it once a day. Maybe let it go for a week. Do it once a week or something. Really bring the frequency back and give the universe a chance to respond. But on the flip side, you could also be doing it not enough. Say you're only doing it once a month, or maybe once a week you're doing your manifesting techniques. But outside of that, you're not doing anything at all. Well, it's possible you're not putting enough juice into this process. And manifesting is very much like a scientific kind of game, where it's all about guessing and testing and experimenting and tweaking. So don't be afraid of just changing stuff up. It's not, it's not that serious. Manifesting is a super fun kind of game we can play, and shaping our reality and being a conscious creator is so fun. And when you get those successes, it really makes you feel good. And you're like, okay, this worked. I'm going to try this. So experiment with the frequency, right? How often you're doing it and see what really works out for you. And now manifesting mistake number 6, and stay tuned. There's a bonus mistake number 7, and that one will really combine with 6. It's going to launch your manifestation game into the next level. But mistake number 6 is looking at our identity and our vibration. Okay. Understanding that manifestation is not just about taking action and visualizing and thinking and asking of the universe. More often than not, it's about our vibration and our identity. It's who we are busy being. It's about our thoughts, feelings, actions, and our beliefs about reality. If we believe or have a scarcity mindset that's been subconsciously programmed from childhood, for example, we can do the perfect manifesting techniques all the time for money. And money may actually make it into your bubble despite that, but you're gonna reject it subconsciously. That scarcity mindset is gonna push the money away. So if you're having success with money coming in, but it just seems to go through your fingers, you don't know what's wrong, you might want to look into some of those subconscious beliefs. You know, look at your family, look at the dynamics when you were a child. A lot of that programs our love, for example, our love relationships, programs our relationship to money. And we get who we are busy being, right? Law of correspondence, the mirror principle. Who we are, what's going on in our inner reality, manifest into the outer reality. And there's a time delay there, but really start looking into yourself and your own beliefs and how you think and feel about that which you wish to manifest. You've got to be abundant within before you can see abundance come into your life. You have to be the perfect partner before the perfect partner is going to show up into your life. If you can work on those inner vibrational beliefs, if you can work on what it is you're putting out into the universe, that is the secret to really transforming your manifestations, and it leads directly into manifesting mistake number 7. And that is not having a system or a process, like a workflow in place for your manifestation. A lot of times as we're learning this kind of stuff, we can read a bunch of books, we can watch a bunch of videos, we can actually go pay for courses. I've done all these things. And we're just kind of randomly guessing and testing, like that the scientific experimenting. And that's great and that works. The problem with that is it takes a lot of time, right? It took me 10 years. 10 years of really trial and error and guessing and testing and learning and courses and everything else to really nail down what works for me in my life and manifesting. And that led me to, you know, a process and system of manifestation that works for me. So one of the last big mistake I see people make is they never find a system and process that works for them. They never find like a blueprint that says step by step, here's how you can manifest what you want. And if you're interested, there's a video right here about the 7-step process I discovered through my 10 years of trial and error. So check out that video next if you're interested in kind of putting a framework together for yourself that's gonna allow you to supercharge your manifestation. I hope you choose to make it a great day, and I will see you next time. Much peace to you, my friend.